I might have put the chair in the wrong spot when I did that.
Well, I'm sure I need to, yeah, I'm sure it was. Okay. Exactly what without going back and
Morning. Dawn, are you gonna be the record timekeeper?
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't have to.
Very good. You still want me to let you know in an hour or so? Probably. Yeah. Or, you know, at the first available spot.
That's one of the. There's some you guys are all. Yeah, they are. It's
Good.
Isn't she?
I don't think she was. That's all
Oh.
right. We know it's not.
Oh, I do not know what it is that- no, she said that. I think we're not ready. Much nicer.
Very nice. Hey, if you ever find out when the guy is gonna come, look at the, microphone one.
Yeah, they're sending us a quote. They were supposed to send it a while ago, and I told Bill to get back on it because they never got it to us.
And he did yesterday, and then the gal said that they're back on.
Yeah, supposedly, they said Jody told them that too, but I don't know if it's Jody here or Jody there. I don't know. So something
He just said,
happened.
Joe, so we don't know what. Joe- Okay, that's fine.
So that's why I got stalled. And I don't know why.
Okay, well, that explains. That's good. Thank you.
Neighbors.
You know, we wondered when we had.
No.
And the guy said it's not a cold. No. For the microphones.
Oh.
For the PA.
Yeah, okay.
Because they would go and went back and said, okay, why?
Okay.
Somebody, but it's not clear if it was Jody. They're off. But it got stalled, so it is.
No, that's the one we did in November.
Just making sure I got the thing.
Okay, all right.
She needed it.
There, or they check.
But yeah.
And they help us set it up.
Okay.
So I put this together. Is it the board's question? Okay. So that you could do your turn. Start using-
I can do contributions. to the health participants. That's why-
Right. And so you could do contributions to HCS. We're actually listing here it's asking for participants. It's checking which was confusing. So that's why I was trying to do it myself. And that's where I saw some confusion. So that's why I highlighted this section.
Okay.
Just contact. members.
Okay.
Set it up with-
Okay, terrific, thank you.
Hey, looking up.
Bless you.
Yeah, I heard it was bad after. It's small though. I can come to your office if you want later. She bought the 2 lots. Okay. So
I'm
she
good.
was in the process of making the building. Yeah, Peggy sent her this form yesterday. Okay, and then I don't know if you want to mail it back to her or email it.
What does she prefer?
She prefer email.
Oh, then I'll scan it, send it.
You're special.
That's right, thank you, you're welcome, that's right. Take care of it, thank you so much, you're welcome. It's nice.
Okay.
Really gotta use.
Did you already?
No. What? Did they click?
Yeah.
I know that.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, we already know. Like,
Yeah, that's fine. Just okay. You can tell them they-
Make comments on everything.
Yeah, we can secure they can.
But the rest of them,
The chair here.
because they're gonna be some, they're gonna.
Right.
Yeah.
Order. Roll call, we'll do roll call first. Everybody is present. And we'll do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
We have a motion. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes, opposed say no. Motion passes. Approval of the minutes from March 13th and actually the finance of March 24th. We do not have the special minutes yet from the 20th. Does everybody have a chance to read both? We'll do March 13th first. So approval of the minutes from March 13th. Any changes?
Changes. Probably if you want to do it later. With the total.
We can do that later.
Okay.
Is there anything on the agenda or on the minutes itself?
I thought we had some public comments on agenda items from last month. And this says that there's nothing.
Yeah, I thought we did too.
Any question? Do you remember? That first public comment period?
Usually I try to make it approve. Maybe that confuses me.
I think those two on public comment at the bottom were the ones that happened in the beginning.
Okay, they're just in
The wrong
they're just in the wrong spot. Do you want to correct it for just that or leave it as is?
We can leave it as is.
Okay. We'll accept them as presented. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed, say no.
Who made the motion?
Oh, I thought you made the motion.
No, it's not. I know.
Lloyd.
Oh, Lloyd made the motion for the
Yeah.
minutes.
And who seconded the motion?
I did.
Okay. All in favor, say yes.
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 Opposed, say no.
And is that to approve the 13th minute?
Just the
Yes,
13th,
the 13th.
yes. And then we have the 20th. We'll be picking up the next time because we don't actually have any minutes at this point. And then the March 24th FPS committee meeting, we did minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the March 24th.
And I'll support. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yeah.
Yes, opposed say no. Motion passes. Claims and accounts.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims and accounts March 14th, 2025 through March 27th, 2025. Claims in the amount of $66,142.47. Desk checks in the amount of $9,183.21. EFTs in the amount of $189,763.12. For a grand total of $265,088.80.
Any discussion?
You have a second?
Yes, I did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any discussion? Okay. Roll call, please.
Devon,
Yes.
Hamlin,
Yes.
Hardee's,
Yes.
LaRose, Pilcher.
Yes,
Limited public comment on agenda items only. So if anyone would like to present, just state your name. Keeper?
Hello, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Julie Morton. I've been with the county since 1991, almost 34 years. I see retiree health is on the agenda again, and I just want to plead with this board, this new board, to honor the wishes of previous boards and respect a handful of employees that have been here for more than 15 years. When you go to vote, consider the effect that you will have on these employees. Please vote like you would vote if it would be your benefit or your children's benefit. Here is a handout of what it would cost you if I choose to stay instead of retiring this year because of the loss of my insurance as a retiree. I did email it, but it was early this morning, so you might not have got it. Thank you.
More public comment?
Morning, Bill Houston, Atlanta Senior Center. As per the most recent legal opinion regarding McCullough, I have two questions, at least two questions. This board has the discretion to appoint members to the McCullough board. Does it also have the discretion to remove a previously appointed McCullough board member? The McCullough bylaws are silent on that, so there has to be a decision on that. Secondly, if this board is not financially responsible for McCullough, how will this board address millage requests, ballot language, and the actual election if proposed by McCullough? The other thing is that McCullough has chosen wisely to post on its website monthly financial documents. This is a major step towards transparency, and I've provided you with those documents. Thank you.
Others?
Morning. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Donna Branning. I have almost 22 years here at the county. I work at the sheriff's office. Again, the retiree health insurance is on the agenda, and this is a huge impact for those of us that have over 15 years. When we hired in, we were told we would have health insurance after we retired. And I believe the intention is to change it to HCSP. The 15 of us, I should say majority of the 15 of us, do not have time to save to make it equitable for us to retire. So as Julie stated, it's not fair. I believe the word was fair and equitable is what the MERS rep said, that in order for this to happen, we should make sure that it's fair and equitable for all the employees. And with the change, it would not be. Now, if you'd like to sit down and talk with all of us and maybe work out something, that would be different. In the past 3 years, I've had my dependent health insurance cut with no notification. I've had vacation time cut, and now my retiree health. So this is very concerning and disappointing to me. So I'm pleading with you to please reconsider and maybe work with us and sit down and try to figure something out. We did our part, so please do yours. Thank you.
Anyone else?
If anybody doesn't know me, I'm Teresa Walker. I'm the Register of Deeds of this county. And I've been elected by this county 8 consecutive elections, and I'm the longest running Register of Deeds this county's ever had. And I say that with pride, not arrogance. Over 27 years ago, I took a 25% pay cut to take this office. And I did that not only because I love this work, but also it provided a future for me and my family. It provided a pension, medical benefits, and a promise that over 15 years of after 15 years of service, I would be vested and I would have medical coverage until the age of 65. We are here today because that promise is being threatened, and that puts my family, my husband and myself into a position of uncertainty as we're not prepared for this change. They're also, not only the health benefit is being challenged, but the $200 a month wellness benefit for over 65 is also on the table to be taken off. Proposal put before you may be the best thing for the county, and that's the proposal that was handed out here this morning, which, by the way, the county employees have not seen yet. It may be good for the county going forward, but it leaves a huge void for those people that, for a few individuals, that's already acquired their 15 years of service. They're vested. We have a lot of dedicated employees here in Montmorency County. We had the opportunity to meet with MERS rep on Tuesday, and it probably would have been helpful had a board member been there. I know you had representation, but so you can really hear what had to be said. After a few questions were asked, it was told to us that there were options that could be considered. You know, when putting a plan like this together, that can indeed address the diversity of the tenure of all the employees. She said that. So if you choose to go with this plan today without further review of our options, I ask that you either increase the dollar amount for the past years of service for those that were already invested, because like Donna said, we can't make that money up. We don't have the time to make that money up like the employees coming in, you know, now. And there are also some employees on your list that won't even see the benefit because they won't even be here long enough before they time out. Either way, or it would be cost conscious to not even include, as it could cost less to keep them insured on our current plan than to pay that dollar amount out. So I'm asking this board just to educate yourself as to the options before making a decision today. And I truly believe that one size doesn't fit all. And our rep said she had made it very clear that when putting this plan together, all must be fair and equitable. And I don't believe that this proposal is neither fair nor equitable. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good morning, my name is Jody Gordon. I'm with the Montmorency County Probate Court. I'm the court administrator and probate register. I've been with this county for about 17, 18 years, started out part-time. I mirror everything that everybody else has said that's come up here, Teresa, Julie, and Donna. Anyways, what are we rushing? What are we rushing? Why are we rushing? And someone just said time out. Let's take this time to talk to us. And I also said the same thing. I got to go to that meeting for just a few seconds because I was working. I couldn't attend the meeting. And it would just be really nice that you guys can show up and listen to everything. It's very upsetting. I'm upset even talking about it right now. These ladies have been here much longer than me. You understand? And they deserve it. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Morning. My name is Jim Chapman, or officially known as H. James Chapman, and that chair used to be mine. And so I know what you guys are going through. I've sat there and gone through the financials, and we fought the MERS thing, and It's been many years. I see department heads coming up here and talking to you this morning. And it's obvious to me that those up here, I don't think, spend much time talking to your department heads. They're the ones that run this government. You sit here and make decisions, but they're the ones that are here on a daily basis. Now, when I was commissioner, I'm not bragging, I'm just saying, how many of you have gone down and sat in the treasurer's office and talked to the treasurer? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you sat in the clerk's office and talked with the clerk and say, what's on your mind? How many of you have gone to the register of deeds, to Teresa's office? So when I was commissioner, I took the time to sit with every department head because you guys have to work together. And and the real reason I'm here today is to talk about this ridiculous idea of not letting the sheriff and the sheriff's mechanic take care of police cars and leasing cars and you guys don't realize what a great value you have with the sheriff and the mechanic and the way they take care of these vehicles. I just beg you to please pay attention to your department heads because you have to run this county. And I know I sat there and we went through retiree health benefits aren't funded and we're not at the 75% or whatever the percentage is you're supposed to be funded. And you know, I read all those reports. I sat there for a long time. Just don't just pick on people that are going to retire. You know, you have to pay attention to these other people that are running the county for you because you're only here a couple of days a month, but they're here every day working to run this county. So that's it. That's all I have to say.
Anyone else? Okay, new business, we have the MERS rep that's going to present to the board. I just want to add that what we're doing today, already November 7th, we already had a resolution on November 7th of last year, 2024, that already put all of the covered group according to the healthcare savings plan. And that was all current non-union employees. That was already resolution. So at this point, what we're talking about now is an addendum to that, and it's about how we shift the money for that.
Well, good morning. My name is Tony Virgenovich, and I am the regional manager for MERS, and I have been the regional manager of Montmorency County, 17 years, I think. And I've been coming to your board meetings when requested to help inform both the board and the employees on the different programs that we administer for the employees when requested to do so by the board. We have many different programs already in force for the employees of Montmorency County. And this issue that you're talking about, you know, I'm in a difficult position because we're talking about options for the county on a very important and sensitive matter, as you can tell from today's comments. And so this, just so that I'm, you know, you hear me today talking about this for the first time for some of you, but we first started talking about this issue with the county 15 years ago. So it's been on and off the radar, and we've been here to help provide whatever programs that we have available that would fit the county board and the employee and the management of this county. So that's our role here, is bringing an option that can be brought in, that can be provided. We do not have a preference of what this board chooses to do, because we are an organization created by the state a long time ago, provide these programs to local units of government, and that when it fits those local unit of governments, they can voluntarily join us or they can voluntarily leave. So my role here is basically providing the information on the programs that we provide that you're able to bring in or adopt. And onboard employees if you so choose to do. So what was done was a resolution to adopt a healthcare savings program. And the healthcare savings program is a program that can be used after employment to pay for medical expenses. That's the short version of the program. You can put money in, the board or the county can put money in for the participants while working or in retirement, so that those participants, employees or former employees, can use those dollars for medical expenses. The medical expenses that they can use, it's a list created by the IRS. It's about 20,000 different items or so. It's there's a short list on this table of the most common reimbursable expenses, but it's a list of about over 20,000 different types of medical expenses that it can be used for. It's not healthcare. You can buy premiums with it. Healthcare savings account is a program that is utilized when it's coupled with a high deductible healthcare plan, and that dollars can be put aside pre-taxed so that you can utilize those for co-pays and other such medical expenses. One of the things you can't buy with a healthcare savings account is a premium. The healthcare savings program is different. It allows you to buy premiums for healthcare. The state of Michigan or MERS, and then the public employees in the state of Minnesota are the only two that have this private letter ruling from the IRS for this type of program. So we're kind of unique. And the biggest difference is that the healthcare savings program, medical expenses, but allows you to also buy premiums. And that means your Medicare, like Part B packages. The other thing about a healthcare savings program, the dollars that are held in your, if this is adopted, all of the employees would get an account. If you are going to adopt it for your retirees, I don't know if that's on, I know someone mentioned it, because I know you're giving stipends is part of something what you're doing now. I don't know if it's been the $2,400.
We offered it to retirees at one point, but they weren't interested.
So the $2,400 stipend is done?
Just a check.
That actually could be part in this program as well. So you could adopt it for both current actives and retirees, however you want to do it. The way that it works is that those dollars are held in an account that's invested in the market. You can choose which investment options you want to put in it. So it's invested in the market. So it can grow, it can lose money, depending on like if what the future said today, that there's going to be about a 2% loss in the markets. I hope that's not the case, but it can go down. And so the dollars they can go up and they can go down based on how they are invested. You don't have to use these dollars if you don't want to. You don't need to. If you have other means to cover those costs through spouses insurance plans that you're on, you can save this money till the time that you need it. So these are this is the rundown of it. It is also, let me, about how this money goes. The money is yours. It's for you. If you're in the healthcare savings program, the benefits are for you after you terminate employment, not age, not a certain requirement of years. If you have a healthcare savings account, I think did you guys put a 5-year vesting on it? So then you gotta be vested. But once you have that account and you terminate, you can use the dollars for medical expenses for you and your legal dependents at any time after you terminate. You don't have to be 59 and a half, you don't have to be 65 or anything like that. It's at termination for you and your legal dependents. You can name beneficiaries. Once you, I'll use an example. I have this plan. It's for me and my wife. If I don't use it all up by the time that my wife and I die, this balance, this account balance goes to my beneficiaries. I can name whoever it is, whoever I want. And they can use it. But the key thing here is when we're using the healthcare savings program, it's tax-free. It's given to you tax-free, and the employer doesn't pay payroll taxes on it. It grows tax-free, and when you take it out, there's no taxes on it. Like in a deferred comp, there's taxes when you use it. It's tax-free the entire time. However, if and when I give it to, because I'm dead and it goes to my beneficiaries, at that point in time, they can use it for medical expenses. But they're going to have to pay normal income tax on that account at that time. It only goes back to the county or the employer if they don't have beneficiaries and the account balance is not used up, then it would come back, or if they didn't get vested when they left, those dollars come back into the plan for the employer. Though that's the easy short version of how this plan works and what it provides and what it doesn't provide. I want to know what questions you have. I mean, I could talk about this plan and all the nuances of for your whole meeting,
All right.
but what questions do you have?
All right, board, this is for you. What questions do you have for Tony? Do you have any other questions? You said, I just wanted to emphasize, so it's an individual account that's set up for them. If they are 40 years old, 50 years old, and they decide to cut, and they've, got their 5 years vested, they walk away with this policy, whatever the money is in it, and it is theirs, and they can start using it the day after their employment is severed here. Is that correct?
Correct.
And then it can, for as long as now, can they contribute to this as well?
No, this is only contributed through, it has to be employer sponsored.
Okay.
And when I say no, I mean, they have to be working. So like, once they left, they can't contribute to it. The way that it's been, the resolution is looking for an employer contribution into this plan. But there was a discussion for one of the public comments. It says, is there options? And you can set up ways in which to put employee contributions in on a pre-tax basis, a no tax basis. But you have to do this, and this is where I think it was stated twice that it has to be fair and equitable. And so you have to do it by groups. And so if you said all employees, if all employees said that they're going to have a payroll deduction of 3% of payroll, then there could be also employee contributions put into it as well. So that you have the employee putting in this money, and then you could have, and then I think isn't part of this a certain amount per pay period?
$50.
$50. So you're going to get those that are here. There's a sheet that is stating how much is going to be a lump sum put in, and then as they continue to work, $50 a pay period. What if the employees came to you and said, well, we feel that we would like to put in X amount, a percentage or a dollar amount, then they can put in also while working. They can, if you did not, but the problem with that is your groups have to have 100% participation. You don't have to have one plan. You can have, like in your retirement plans, you have multiple plans. You could have that. So you could have it by work classification or dates of hire. Dates of hire are quite common. As one public comment said, we have less time. So therefore, what we see in the healthcare savings program of those that have a shorter time horizon, So then everyone hired after this date, which you'll figure out, like, say, if you go back, everyone hired prior to 1995. They put in this much. Those that are hired after, 2005, they put in this much. All those hired in 2020, their percentage may be slightly different because they have a longer time horizon. So there are ways in which employees can put in while working. And then if you didn't come to that agreement through divisions like that, the employee while working can put in on an after-tax basis, so it will grow tax-free. And so when they take it out, there's no additional taxes, but it doesn't have the pre-tax option to put in at that time. And they can do that without any other agreement other than the board allowing that to happen post-tax contributions. Because the board will set this up as how they're allowing contributions to come in. So that's where you get into this flexibility and being fair. There are, once you start to get into employee contributions, that's where this comment came from. Because it's a mandatory plan and it's a tax-free plan, that's why you can have, like in a 457, individuals can choose what they want to put in, because what's best for them. Here, you'd have to have the entire group being mandated on what they're going to contribute unless it's post-tax.
Okay, so like groups can decide to match it and go $50 a pay period or $25 a pay period.
And those
they can
group-
pick the amount or.
And those groups have to have some commonality, which can't be discriminatory, meaning work classification, dates of hire. It can't be because everyone with the name Joe wants to put in 10. It has to have some commonality to it.
Yeah, but somebody that's nearing their retirement doesn't have the amount of time to be able to put a sufficient amount in to cover them through the years.
You're correct. So the growth period for a short timer is less. So therefore, what we've seen, they decide to put in more, and that's why by dates of hire seems to be an equitable way in which to allow those members that want to put more money in. Now,
Don't sound very equitable to me if they put in 75% of their current paycheck to
So-
make
so-
up for the lost time.
so when the equities that you're talking about is fairness to the employee as opposed to a benefit that they were being promised to something that can be taken away. I understand your point. What we're talking about is that there has to be equities amongst the group. This in by no means am I saying that this, and I said this again, I'll say it again. I'm not stating that this is what the board needs to do. I'm saying this is an option in the situation that we find employers in. If they have retiree healthcare and they want to go away from it, they can go from retiree healthcare to nothing. 1 second. Then if you want to go away from healthcare to nothing, but there's nothing in between, this is something that's in between. It's your choice. I am not advocating on behalf of MERS or the county or to the employees that you should do this. I'm providing the information of how the plan works. There's members of the public that have questions. Do you want them to be able to ask questions?
Briefly.
There's one.
My question is, why has there not been a set standard ahead of time about this?
I can't answer
Why
that.
has there not been a set standard ahead of time about all of this?
I can't answer why to anything that this county is working with employees on. That would have to come from the board.
I just have a couple brief questions. So for the veteran employees, people that are getting ready to retire, you mentioned there's a vesting. Is that exempt? Are they removed from that vesting period?
So the vesting is going to go by date of hire, and therefore
Okay,
your veterans, I think in your case, you've definitely been here more than 5 years.
yeah. Okay, and then my other question was, well, it was nice to know that there are multiple plans, and that's good to know. Is the payout, is there a choice to just have a payout?
No,
Okay,
that's what makes this plan. So An account balance in the healthcare savings program is for medical purposes only. Period. Like in the 457, that's deferred comp. You can get a payout and take it all at one time. You can take a little bit at a month, a little bit each month. In the healthcare savings program, it can only be used for medical expenses. You can't go buy a camper with it. You can't go pay off your mortgage with it. You can only use it for medical expenses, period. In either while you're paying for the services, while you're at the doctor's office or at the pharmacy, or when you have been given a bill and you write your credit card number on the bill and you mail it in, or if you've already paid for it through another account or cash, and now you're asking for a reimbursement, the money comes back to you. There's another question with the sheriff.
Do you have is there a minimum projected like rate of return on the healthcare?
So the investment options do not have a guaranteed investment contract option. The closest thing to that would be our stable value option. And inside of the stable value option, you have it's set up so that we can try to make a return. It's not a guaranteed amount between 1 and 3, or like many of these guaranteed investment contracts around, they try to get 2 to 3%. This was not set up that way. But the one that's probably the closest to a guaranteed investment would be our stable value.
And the reason I ask is because I thought when Leah was here on Tuesday, just, and maybe it's not a hard or guarantee, but just as an average. For some reason, I thought you said like 6 to 8 is average rate of return on most of the programs. And I just want to, that's what I recall hearing. I don't know about anybody else that was in the room. So I just wanted to verify or ask that question.
So I don't know how the question was posed to her, but we can never guarantee the market. Like I just said this morning, I woke up, it was going to be down like 2% in the future. But on average, the MERS total market fund, which funds the pension plan, that on average, going back 35, 40 years, over the long term, has produced over 7% in that term. The S&P 500, over that time period, they can have swings of losing 25% or gaining 25%, but on average, over the long term, they have done over 8%. So the investment markets, they have ups and downs, but over the long term, the investment markets have done well.
Thank you.
But you could be in the bus cycle when you need the money the most, and that's terrible.
Right.
When you're younger, you'd want to be in the more higher risk category, and as you age, you'd want to lower your risk into the more conservative.
That is the most popular trend of most investors. You're correct.
Just one last one, Tony. I'm sorry. You were talking about ways to, I think if you said different, the county could look at establishing different groups, and potentially those groups could be, like you said, data fire or division or however you want to justify it or classify it. But within that, so say the county were to establish 2 groups, and they said group A is, let's say, more novel employees. They'll see, I think what I read was $1,300. So group A gets $1,300. I add a higher date after this. The county will contribute $1,300.
That's the county, based on what I see now.
Right. Is it, because this is a look back, can they have a class B that says they receive a different dollar value? It's a $2,500 or a $2,000 value for the individuals that were hired before this date. Is that an allowable?
If that's allowable, if that's what was ever decided.
Okay. It's an option, I guess, maybe.
Because that's where it's equitable, because it's by dates of hire. It's not discriminatory. Those 2 groups were not discriminatory. You stated dates of hire, basically, or something else like that, that would allow for different funding structure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tony. So I would, at this point, I will make the motion to approve the contribution addendum to MERS. Again, we already had
the November, or I'm sorry, yeah, November 7th. Resolution 2024-08 amended on November 7th, 2024, already placed the employee groups into the healthcare savings plan contribution. And this is the addendum that needs to attach to that, and that's to take the money that's sitting there, that's already funded, to if you've seen this paper back there, this shows what people's contributions will look like based on their dates of hire and years of service, full-time service. This is what will be funded. So the motion to approve the contribution addendum for MERS Healthcare Savings Plan. I probably should be looking at you here, right? For all current. For all current full-time non-union employees. Contributing that 50 per pay period and back paying the lump sum of $1,300 for full-time service. Of $1,300, yeah, for full-time service year.
On service per year.
Well, service years. Prior to 2025. And then retroactive from today back to January 1.
January 1 of this year, right?
Yeah.
I'll second that motion.
Can you please reread the motion one more time?
Motion by Hardy, seconded by Pelletier to approve the contribution addendum for MERS Healthcare Savings Plan for all current full-time non-union employees contributing $50 per pay period and back paying the lump sum of $1,300 for the full-time service years prior to 2025. And retro back to January 1st of 2025.
Yeah, just so that we, what's already going before us this year. Discussion.
Where does this $1,300 come from?
We already have this pot of money in the healthcare savings plan now. That was what the, that
I was wondering
contract
how
that
we
you got?
decided on the number 1,300.
How we decided on that number was basically based off of the number of total employees.
No, it was like $50 per pay period times 26 pay periods.
Oh, for the year. Yeah. I was thinking we were talking retro. Got it.
I think this is where that number came from. You said it's the $50 per pay for, but I think he's asking where.
That's what we have set up for the union. It's the same. $50 per pay period.
I would like to make a statement, to sit here as a new board member and have to make a decision on this is very difficult for me, because I will say the first bit of information I received on any existing retirement plan and proposed retirement plan, I received Monday evening. And then information has been trickling in since then, and it's Thursday morning. And to sit here and have to make a decision on this, to me, I morally and ethically cannot sit here and say that I have had time to evaluate this to the extent that I feel it is my duty to do that with the time that I've had to review this information. Like 2 days is not a lot of time. Right or wrong, I do have a job during the day, so I work, and so I'm doing my best. And I tried to come up with some questions, which I can run through here, but to me, it's not a lot of time for, as a commissioner, to fully understand and digest and consider this.
Well, we have had this on the agenda since the beginning, probably since February. We've been saying that we're going to have this discussion. We talked about this. So you can always ask and seek information. I've been getting some information. Well, Lloyd and I probably have the advantage. We've had this information for probably a year.
In 2 days' time, like there's.
Also in
there's
your files on your
options,
computer.
and then
in your
there's
first-
this, and then there is multiple comments rolling into me from concerned parties. that are affected or their employees are affected by this. All I'm saying is that it's a lot coming in as a new board member. Maybe we've had conversations, some things coming up, but I didn't see anything specific to review or to understand the degree of what is coming forth to us.
Well,
So I just wanted to make it clear, like, I am not comfortable deciding on this today because I don't feel I had enough time to digest the details of everything that's been rolling in over the last 2 days. But I just wanted to say that.
It was part of the preparation and the information that we gave in our initial book, this book that came, it's also in there. So, that was available for review.
Okay.
So, any other questions?
Feel the same way, it's a lot than one.
Yeah, and I recognize it.
I'll go through my questions then.
It'd
since
be nice if we
don't
had that
have-
information pack that we just received and give us a couple more weeks to review it. Because
Well, the
you
older
mean we can't
version-
get it, which is coming up in the
Right.
agenda.
The
Be
The
prepared for
previous,
everything.
the previous version from last year was in these books, were they not? Yeah, were in these books. So it's the same thing, except these have the updated numbers.
Okay.
So it was there.
Again,
was there, it was
just as a
available.
new board member,
Understood.
I have that binder, I have a lot of things that are put towards me, so I'm trying to get up to speed on things as quickly as I can. But to not know targeted, like, yes, like a lot of my time is spent on agenda focus. Because again, I try to spend as much time as I can, but I do have other responsibilities as well, but I'm trying to do my due diligence for the people I represent. So I'm just seeing like it to
And
just
thank you for doing
have a
that,
bunch
Mary.
of information and say like, well, it's all in this stuff that was just given to you is a difficult thing to digest.
Understood.
But I do have questions when it's my turn.
No, go ahead. Did you want to say something, Michelle? No?
So I was just curious how a target was set and what the process is to get to the recommended option. So I see, so we have, obviously, the goal here is that we're trying to, mitigate this potential liability and cost savings for the county, and I understand that, but was there a target set that we're trying to achieve a certain amount of savings or something like that to get to the option that's recommended, and then what was the process to get there? Because I wasn't involved with the previous board, so I'm not sure what, I'm just trying to get up to speed on.
Well, as he said, it's been a 15-year process about the unfunded liability. That's been an ongoing, and you're well aware of that. And can I let April talk to the unfunded liability? She has the numbers better than I do.
We had a corrective action plan in 2018 for our pension and OPEB liabilities. And we had to put in that we were going to start eliminating those liabilities, reducing them drastically. We had to put a plan together. And one of the rules was that's why they ended retiree health stipend for anybody after 2021. Well, that's when they did that, because they were trying to reduce that liability with that part. The other part was we were trying to put money away to fund these liabilities in order to, but that hadn't been done in the previous years. No money was ever set aside for retiree health the entire time that this promise was made to do retiree health. So that's why we had that corrective action plan, that we needed to start looking at our pension and OPEB liabilities. So this was a way, we had surplus funds last year, we talked about it, that we used the DTRF surplus funds to help reduce and eliminate the OPEB liability that the county has, which is upwards of $2 million and growing with the healthcare costs going up. We'll have another OPEB actuarial done this year when we do our audit. So they were able to take $734,500 from the DTRF fund. We put it in the retirement health funding vehicle through MERS. And then they set up this healthcare savings program with the intention of making groups and putting people into it, back paying their service years, so that they had money to retire with. Because currently, if somebody was to retire tomorrow and the board decides next week that they're not going to do health insurance, they would have retired with a thought that they're going to get health insurance, but then have nothing. It did happen to some of our retirees a few years ago. And then they have nothing. This was a way to put money into an account for an individual employee, so that when they left employment, they had that money and it cannot be taken away from the employee. No next future board can remove that benefit from them. Once the money's put into this account, it's secure, it's in their name, it can't be touched. If they've got 5 years of service, it's theirs, won't go anywhere. As soon as they leave employment, that's theirs to go with. It can grow interest and they can use it for their premiums. So that was the point of completely just trying to eliminate that OPEB liability because we were asked to by the state to take care of our pension and liability.
Do any of the scenarios address, I understand them, but do any of them have, can you just run through, like these, this is the recommended and there's the options. Can you just talk through what these options were that were looked at?
Yep. So currently, so we'll start at the top. Currently, our current program is that if you retire and you have 15 years of service with the county, you would retire at 55 until you turn the age of 65, that you could get single plan health insurance through the county. But there's a caveat to that, that if you have insurance offer from either your spouse or another form of employment, they would not qualify for that single plan insurance. So meaning if somebody was to retire here and they left, they were 55 years old and their spouse still worked, they have to get insurance with their spouse. The county won't pay for their single plan insurance. So they wouldn't get insurance from the county. Once they turn 65, then they get that $200 a month stipend in lieu of insurance because they're Medicare eligible. That stipend stopped as of 2021. So no other employees get that after, if they were hired after 2021. So that current liability, the future liability of that is expected to be $3.6 million. You're looking at people's retirement ages, their years of service, that's the future liability of that. Your option is if you go to non-union and you don't do a healthcare savings plan or insurance, and you in the retirement stipends in the union, you still have the union because that's negotiated. You have a part of your union that gets the option for health insurance right now, unless they negotiate differently. And then you have part of the union that gets the healthcare savings plan instead. You're still looking at, if you remove the healthcare savings plan and the insurance, you're still looking at a savings of about $2.8 million, but that's not giving any benefit whatsoever to your non-union employees. The next option is if you do a healthcare savings plan for all of your non-union current employees, and you remove the insurance and the stipends, but you still, like I said, you have that mixed group of the union, you're looking at a savings of $2.3 million.
Right. So how is, that is the recommended.
Yep, because you're still offering them something instead of them not having anything. The next options, there's two-sided here. So in the blue, or you guys' color, on the left-hand side, it would be if you did non-union insurance, but you change the ages, because these were some of the options that the previous boards kind of just threw out there. What if we change the age that they give insurance from 60 to 65 instead of 55 to 65? So say they did that and they continue to give you stipends, you're only looking at a savings of $1.9 million. If you took the stipends away, you're looking at a savings of $2.5 million, but you've reduced that insurance coverage of 5 years for your employees. And then they also would not have the healthcare savings plan. And the very last one is if you did non-union and union insurance over 55 to under 65, it's split, and then you wouldn't have any savings. So you have stipends, you got $465,000 savings. And then the other side, if you got rid of the stipends, you're looking at about $1 million savings. The thing you need to pay attention to is that when you talk about these stipends and the insurance, and they talk about fair and equitable, this isn't for all your current non-union employees. They don't get all that benefit. Your current employees, you have 30 total non-union employees. 11 of them have that 15 years of service where they have the insurance from 55 to 65 and the stipend. The other 19, they get single plan health insurance and they don't get any retirement stipend. They don't get any of that. So this was a way to put it across the board. Everybody's getting the same retirement benefit without reducing and removing that liability to the county.
this is an additional benefit. This is.
Yeah, it doesn't affect
this is
their
a fringe
pensions at
benefit.
all. This
There's
is
no
completely
pension.
separate from the
Yeah, this is
pensions.
separate.
What happens with staff that already retired?
Nothing.
Nothing, they would keep their, we don't have any current staff that is collecting the health insurance. All of our retirees are over the age of 65 and they're receiving their stipends. So that would, they would not be affected. We would not touch theirs. It's been done, taken care of. It would just be anybody who's currently working. And that's why they wanted to back pay for all of their full-time service years. So say somebody's been here for 30 years and they were expecting this, they're gonna get paid into their account almost $44,000 on this healthcare savings plan to help them go and get pay for any of their medical expenses outside. And they would have to get their own insurance plan. They could go through the marketplace and your premiums could be anywhere from 200 to whatever plan they pick upwards. If they go up to a higher or lower deductible plan, it all depends. It depends on their income that they're getting in retirement, their full family income. It depends on what plans they pick, what that premium cost would be.
If you get burned up in a hurry though, the way prices are running in healthcare, so it don't take very long at all.
Marketplace, right now, you
Sounds
can,
like a lot of money right now, but 5 years from now, it could be peanuts.
right now, currently, you can get a marketplace plan for about $250 with a $6,000 deductible. And you can set it with co-pays of $30 when you go to a doctor. So you're gonna pay your co-pays out of that, your healthcare savings program. You can pay your $250 premium unless you get a premium tax credit from your taxes, then you wouldn't have to pay any premium. You just pay that copay. And the most you'd pay in a year is your $6,000 deductible.
And the stipend after 65 would be gone, right? That's another big thing for them because most people live a lot longer than that. And that goes to paying their Part D or whatever on their Social Security Medicaid.
In 2021, the board voted to remove that at one time for all retirees. There's no guarantee they wouldn't do that again. And so this was a way that if somebody's at the age of 65 and ready to retire now and they're waiting on that stipend and they've been here for 20 years, they're gonna walk away with $30-some thousand in that account. There's that stipend that they could have possibly lost down the road, but at least it's guaranteed in their name.
No guarantee that's good, but it should be a case of,
2 days in the hospital.
or
Well, the healthcare savings.
living up to promises made and promises kept.
Yeah, for 30 years, these weren't funded. Lots of promises were made, but nothing was funded.
Why is that on there?
The healthcare savings plan is guaranteed. It's in their name. They've got it. A future board can't remove that amount of money that they have in there, that they walk away with. And we have that actually, this sheet that explains people that have 36.4 years, would be $47,000 at this point.
Future board removing.
No, they can't.
No.
This they
We
can't.
are the first future board removing benefits.
No, this can't, no, this is a fringe benefit and this can't be removed. That's the benefit to this. This cannot be removed.
Past
This
boards
is
have
in
removed those
their
benefits.
individual
They
name.
ended the stipend.
And that's what we're doing right now too, aren't we?
Right, exactly. That's exactly what's
No,
happening. is
because it's in their
blocking
individual name.
benefits.
Excuse us. It's in their individual name. So
Yeah,
it
I
can't
know
be removed
that.
from
The
them.
proposed new HC.
Right, the healthcare savings plan is in their
Yeah.
name. And so
Yeah,
it's
that's-
not, we
Going
can't remove
forward
it.
from this point, it will be that way.
Right, exactly.
The
If we
point
give
I'm
them
making
that.
is that we're cutting benefits that have been promised before, that we're cutting them to try to go forward with this new HCSP.
Yeah, it's an option. It's giving them an option because there's, like
And
April
how
said, they
long-
had the option, they did an option a couple years ago.
The amount of
So,
employees that are affected by that, that have been here for 30 years or more, they're gonna be dropping off a little out of every year. There's less and less of them that would be the unfunded liability. I mean, it's not gonna go on forever. They're all eventually gonna die. It's a fact of life, so. 8 people or whatever the approximate number is, it's likely to go down significantly in the years coming. I'm just thinking there might be better ways to fund the unfunded liability and whether it be taking it across the board, all insurance. Like increase the deductible. Or something along the lines that we can get a lower insurance premium to fund the liability.
Has there been a look at, like, say, like an example, so age 64, 20 years of service is going to get $25,000 retiring at age 65. So that's the total retirement proposed versus current, just to try and see, like, are we at a happy medium?
So
Because if it's
the number you're
25
reading, so that's not correct. So that's not what they're gonna get total. That's what they would get back paid today. They can continue to work and we can continue to put money into it. That's just the lump sum going back to their full-time service years.
I understand that, but I'm saying, say they're 64, whoever this person is, say they retire at 65. That's not a lot of additional work years unless they now are working longer because they don't have what was originally expected. Like, it's life changing at 64 when you plan to retire at 65. That's why I'm asking is what is that impact on a couple examples? And then even like
Where is this person, Michelle? Because they have to have.
I'm just looking here, I just see this. So I'm just trying to understand
19.
like the impact. And then, like, you know, the county costs either way, because to me, that's what this decisions like this, you're looking at the financials. I understand 100% that it is our responsibility, but also trying to find a good balance. And it's hard to do that with the information given. So I'm just asking, like, if any examples have been run on specifically like that.
Michelle, you were in, Lloyd? You understand it? Roll call?
You got elected office or what?
Our sheriff would like to speak up.
No, we have asked that your comments be before, we asked, this is our board meeting, I'm sorry.
Here's, okay,
We're
I understand that, but again, you received, and I understand that it might have been in a book, but you received information at the beginning of the year. 3 new board members received information and have been drinking from a fire hose since they got on board. Has anybody even looked at, I'll just use because this woman is literally.
Chad, no, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry, we're not, because we
Do me a
have to
favor,
keep
do me a
order. We
favor,
have to keep
Ms.
order.
Hamlin, Mr. Peltier, others. What is, if I have an invested individual that has worked for over 21 years and you put $1,300 into account that gets zero compound interest, at least look at the idea that she lost 6% interest every single year. So that number of $1,300 for 20 years is not accurate. You just heard from the gentleman, average of 6. Let's lowball it and say 6. If you're gonna go down this road, at least do it appropriately, compound it, because the numbers that are on that sheet, if you were to carry compound interest, they should all be double. To the point where you have a county clerk that's been here 37 years, she should be receiving over $100,000 if this thing were to be done fairly and equitably. All I'm asking is slow down. There is so much information that we don't know. I don't know how anybody up there can understand this 100%. Please take your time on this. There's no sense in rushing it. Yes, you have a mechanism and money saved. Now let's deliberately look at it.
It's 6%.
Okay, I would take a roll call, please.
5 years.
Hamlin?
Yes.
Arias? Yes. Rose?
No.
Peltier?
Yes.
Deborah?
No.
Motion passes. I would make, okay, 10-minute break.
Just follow the hallway that you're
Talking about garbage. This isn't fair to anyone. We can stand this down.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I just, we're back in session.
I don't think so. No. You can go on your own business. No big deal.
All right, we're back in session at this point. So with that motion, to retro that back, we probably need a secondary motion then to eliminate the fringe benefit retiree healthcare. I would make the motion to eliminate the fringe benefit retiree healthcare over 55 to 60, under 65, and eliminate the retiree health stipend.
You said to eliminate the fringe benefit healthcare under, is it under 65, you said?
Over 55, under 65. And eliminating the retiree health stipend over 65 for all current employees. And update the policy with the health savings plan language.
I'm sorry, what after you said under 65 and eliminating the got the fringe benefit?
The retiree health stipend over 65. And to update the policy with the healthcare savings plan language to be sent with, replace it with that healthcare savings plan language. And that would be sent with the other policies for the attorney's review.
So The motion is to eliminate the fringe benefit retiree health care for employees over 55 and under 65, and eliminating the retiree health stipend for employees over 65, and to update the policy with a new healthcare savings plan language. Correct. And was there a second for that?
I'll second that.
Yes, for all the same reasons as before.
How many people are in that category of retirees over 65 that are getting the stipend?
20, 24, 25.
Okay, and are you gonna eliminate that without giving any?
No, they're
notice to
keeping
them?
it. That's not getting touched.
Oh,
It's
I
just
thought
current
that's what,
employees.
I'm sorry, I thought
No.
that's what you just said.
No, that's
surprised
going
me.
toward
Okay.
current.
Thank you, I misunderstood.
So if someone retired last year, they get the stipend. If they're retiring this year, they don't.
How many people going forward would be affected by that? I know they had previous policies where changes were, it was the ones that were hired after the date of what, 2010 that were eligible for that?
So every employee currently has the ability, if they work 15 years, to get the insurance from 55 to 65. But only employees hired before 21 get the stipend, $200 per month currently. So every employee would lose the insurance and instead gets the healthcare savings program.
So how many people from 2021 forward would lose they're hired before 2021 would lose their stipend after 65?
We have to have 15 years, so it depends. Because there's people on there that might not even hit 15 years.
Well, then that makes the number less.
So you have about
No idea
11,
what that would be.
you have about 11 people that have had 15 years that would qualify for that stipend right now. There's others that are before 2021, but they don't have their 15 years yet.
There's 28 total hired before that date.
So you're giving budget numbers on savings, so there are assumptions tied to that.
Yes, I said only 11 have 15 years of service right now that would get that stipend.
I'm just gonna go back to what I said in the previous discussion that, to me, I just feel it's worthwhile, which I know we're past this, but looking at the proposed versus current on a couple examples and what is that true impact to someone's retirement? Yeah, if you are a year from retirement and suddenly your benefits change substantially, I just think that's wrong. You didn't have time to plan for that, and maybe this has been a 15-year conversation, but probably not to that extent. So I just think it's wrong to do this without further evaluation and further time for board members, at least myself, before we have time to understand numbers and digest what is happening here and what exactly is the impact of my decision. I don't feel comfortable being able to tell you that other than like a table with like, here's total savings, but there's more than that. And again, for same reasons.
Do you have any?
I'm good.
Roll call. Parties? Yes. LaRose,
No,
Peltier,
Yes.
Beverly,
No.
Hamlin,
Yes.
motion passes. Old business, update on the total vehicles.
The total vehicle, Dean Arbor, there's no body shop there, so I suggest that we take it to a licensed body shop, get physically inspected, the frame and airbag especially, and to get a quote to fix.
I'll support. Discussion? I'm sorry, what? So. What was your motion? I'm sorry.
To get it sent to a licensed body shop to be physically inspected. To be the frame air and airbags, and to get a quote to fix.
One vehicle, total vehicle.
Yes, yeah.
And
The
you
2020.
supported that, Mary? Yeah. So the motion is to take the total vehicle to a licensed body shop to get an inspection and a quote to fix it. Which was the same motion, it was just now to the different.
Body shop.
Any discussion?
I think it's a total waste of time and effort. We have a master mechanic that worked in a body shop for 15 years. He's got every state certification possible being the master mechanic. We're taking it to these other places, like Alpena you discussed, they don't have a master mechanic on staff. He's more than capable of making the decision that it's repairable. We just will not take his word for some reason, which makes no sense to me. It just, I don't get it at all. He's probably the best, most capable mechanic in the entire county.
Yeah, I will comment also, since the last meeting when we had this for discussion, I met with the mechanic and he showed me the vehicle and talked through it, and I was actually really impressed with his knowledge. And he does have a lot of certifications. We talked about his experience. Separate issue, but we also looked at the vehicle being outfitted, which is a very extensive process, which was very insightful as well. So I agree with Bob. I think we have a really good mechanic and he's been working on the vehicles for a lot of years. And he has good experience and he puts safety first, keeps up on the routine maintenance and things like that. So it seems like we could have had this fixed and done by now.
Yeah, we've been on the road again by now.
I'm good.
Fine.
Let's do a roll call. LaRose,
No.
Peltier,
Yes.
Devon,
No.
Hammond,
Yes.
Hardy, yeah. Motion passes.
Boo.
The board considers for an update on Macola.
That's ridiculous.
Bill?
It's our money. Waste our tax money.
We have, you received, we have the recent legal opinion regarding Macola. There were at least 2 questions. If this board has discretion in regards to appointments, and basically what the attorney's review was that it goes by their bylaws. Do we have updated bylaws?
They were working on them. We don't got McCoa's. That was their last meeting they were supposed to be working on. I don't think they're complete. So if their bylaws state that we're going to appoint somebody, then we would. If they change that, then we won't.
And the second question that Mr. Houston brought up was not financially responsible for McCoa's actions. So what happens in the case of millages, ballot language in the actual election proposed by McCoa? I guess that would be up to them for the millage if we aren't legally.
So you want me to read the?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start. For the Commission on Aging, we've been provided copies of the Articles of Incorporation from 1974 and bylaws of 2016 for MCOA, which is often referred to as the Commission. MCOA is not the designated area agency on aging for Montmorency County. The state of Michigan's area agency on aging for Montmorency County, as required by the Older Michigan's Act, MCL 400.589, is the Northeast Michigan Community Service Agency, NEMSCA, a community action agency. MCOA appears to be nothing more than a Michigan registered nonprofit corporation which has IRS, I think it's supposed to be IRS, section 501c3 status according to its bylaws. It has a 7-member board of directors, one of whom is appointed by Montmorency County. Bylaws, Article 4, 1A, however, all appointees shall be subject to confirmation by the Commission and the Montmorency Board of Commissioners. Bylaws, Article 4, 1C, if the BOC does not confirm an appointment, MCOA shall present another candidate. Article 4.2, the member appointed by the BOC cannot serve as a principal officer, such as chairperson, vice chairperson, secretary, or treasurer. The bylaws are approved by the BOC. Overall, it is questionable whether MCOA is a component unit of Montmorency County. It is a nonprofit corporation which might have been initiated with the assistance and support of the BOC and may receive current funding from the county. Absent a contractual arrangement that we are not aware of, the county is not financially responsible for the actions taken by MCOA. That said, clearly the BOC maintains a great deal of leverage over the MCOA through the appointment process. In answer to your specific questions, the BOC's authority is limited to appointment of or confirmation of directors as set forth in the bylaws. The directors run the operations of MCOA. While the county does not have a statutory duty to appoint or approve appointments for the board of MCOA, the bylaws clearly contemplate that it will do so. The county is not required to obtain minutes or financial information and is not responsible for any of MCOA's operations. Rather, MCOA is required to operate as required by the Nonprofit Corporation Act, MCL 450.2101.
So basically, we need to have they run by their bylaws.
Yeah.
When those are updated, you'll probably know those answers.
Correct. We also asked these questions of them for the library and the road commission, and you have those answers there too, or in the landfill.
Right, and do you want to give, could you read those two for the library, just so?
Yeah, actually, I don't have the road commissioners on here, but we've been provided the county library fund transfer agreement unsigned but dated September 15, 2015, and Montmorency County Public Library's bylaws, which were undated. The transfer agreement indicates that the library was created pursuant to MCL 397.301, and it is a county public library. The statute provides that the BOC holds the power to establish a county library, so there should presumably be a record of a BOC action to support this assertion. The library board shall be a body corporate and shall be authorized to contract for the leasing, construction, or maintenance of buildings or quarters, including the acquisition of sites to house the county library service and to do any other thing necessary for the conducting of the county library service. The cost of the county library service to be a charge against the county library fund. The entire library board is appointed by the BOC, MCL 397.3021. The library bylaws provide that the library is governed by a board of no more than 5 trustees selected by the BOC, section 2.2. The BOC may remove trustees, section 2.3, and fill vacancies, section 2.4. The library board has management of the property, personnel, and funds of the enterprise, section 2.8. In answer to your specific questions, the library board is a body corporate with wide authority to run the library and charge the county library fund. The county is limited to appointing board members. The county has a statutory duty to appoint library board members. The library board is a separate public body appointed by the BOC. As such, it is responsible for its own minutes and financial transparency in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act and Open Meetings Act. And then 3, the landfill authority. We have been provided with the articles of incorporation bylaws for the authority, which indicate that the authority was created as a body corporate pursuant to MCL 124.281, the Municipal Sewage Disposal, Water Supply, and Solid Waste Management Systems Act. The purpose of the authority is to provide solid waste management services for 3 constituent counties. Article 4. The authority has all the powers listed in its enabling statute. MCL 124.284. The authority assumed the assets and obligations of the previous Montmorency Oscoda Joint Sanitary Landfill. The articles of incorporation are an interlocal cooperation agreement. Each county appoints 2 members and 2 alternate members to the authority board of directors, all of whom must be county commissioners. The board of directors selects its own officers, Article 7. The bylaws do not mention the Freedom of Information Act. However, they do state that the authority is subject to the Open Meetings Act. In answer to your specific questions, the BOC's authority is limited to appointing 1/3 of the board of directors. The other directors are appointed by the other public bodies, and the board of directors has wide authority to manage the affairs of the authority. The BOC is required by the interlocal agreement to appoint 1/3 of the board of directors. The authority is a public body. It is recognized in its articles of incorporation that it is subject to the Open Meetings Act. Likewise, as a public body, it is subject to the Freedom of Information Act. The county is not obligated to obtain or republish financial information for the public. Rather, the authority itself must meet these obligations. In summation, the county is not obligated to meet the transparency requirements for any of the 3 entities discussed above. They are each in their own way separate entities from the county. Nevertheless, the county does have significant influence over all three organizations and may determine to use that influence during the appointment process to encourage transparency.
Any questions on the attorney's opinion? Did McCoy happen to say when they were in the process right now of completing the bylaws?
I don't know if they completed everything, but the last meeting was on the 20th.
I have a question on the bylaws. The McCullough budget was developed, passed in a non-public setting. And I'm wondering, since I have copies of their bylaws, are they going to review the bylaws in a public setting? So we have input, especially in terms of representation.
Yeah, you would need to address them with that question.
I was told they were having that meeting on the 20th. I assumed it was an open meeting. I don't know for sure.
Where?
At McCoa. They had a meeting on the 20th.
I was there too.
Did they do bylaw discussion
No.
then? Okay, then
No.
I thought they were doing it that
They didn't
night.
discuss the budget either. They just said
Okay.
it's passed.
I'm not
We
sure
never
then.
saw it ahead of time.
I'm not positive on it then. I don't have a
You'd have to
specific date.
address
They're
them.
updating those then. What I was told it was gonna be on the 20th.
There's no action that needs to be taken on that. We'll have to address that with McCoy. Yes, for those updated bylaws. Policy follow-up. Had a few things that we had not reviewed, and you were going to update us on the credit card.
On the credit card policy, we were having conversations about, having more cards. I did get a pamphlet, a flyer from Nicolay on the credit card. And there's a no annual fee. They have a spend track, digital platform access, transactions and spend limit controls and zero fraud liability. So if we wanted to, we could switch over to Nicolay's credit card. We'd have to have the treasurer switch that from Alpena Alcona to this actual business card. At Alpena Alcona, it's not a business credit card, so those securities are not on that card that we currently have. With Nicolay, we have the option of doing the virtual card numbers. So if somebody put a request in to use their credit card, they could be just issued that virtual card to go and make their purchase themselves. They don't have to bring it in. They don't have to, it's one-time use, it's done. So that would help alleviate having the need for a card. And then we also reached out to our rapid funds people that we do the prepaid jury cards and the bonds and restitutions payments through. And he told us that we could actually take two of those, as many as we needed. We could take a couple of those prepaid cards and issue them to the county themselves. And if somebody needed to use it for a hotel stay, he said other counties do it, we could just load the funds onto that card, have them sign out that card and take it with them on their hotel, their trip or their thing, and they can use it, and then they just have to return it with receipts. So I would propose we do that, add that to our policy so that people could actually take a physical card with them if they needed to, if they couldn't get it done via check.
Which would have alleviated your problem when you went to, because it would have been a prepaid.
Yeah, I really don't, the one-time use or a virtual credit card, I can see some of the benefits, but what happens when a deputy needs a credit card at 2 a.m. and they're in Detroit? There's a lot of different situations that I know it's a what if, but these what ifs happen quite often, that if we were to go like most of the other counties in Michigan to have multiple credit cards in a checkout system, or the sheriff's department has their own with 2 or 3 credit cards for their deputies that are doing long distance transports or whatever, it completely eliminates this whole situation.
Well,
I'm
that prepaid
still-
card, that would work because that prepaid card would.
And then we're still under the control and under this requesting portion of the controller's office. It's ludicrous to me. I don't know why we cannot give each department their own credit card with a balance, maximum balance to be set by the board, if it's $1,000 or $2,000. And we have budgetary lines that you all set for us at the beginning of the year. If we don't exceed those lines, all is good.
What number, Drew, what
3
number was
point,
that for policy?
For the credit card, 3.3.
3.3. I'm also a little perturbed, again, I talked about it last Thursday, that our controller is contacting Nicolay about credit card stuff, and I was never CC'd on the emails. I've never been contacted. The only time I knew about it was last Thursday's meeting and now this Thursday's meeting. It is specific. It says credit card accounts may only be opened and limits established by the county treasurer pursuant to MCL 129244 upon Board of Commissioners approval.
So
Why the
we
communication wasn't there?
We
I
asked
don't
on
know.
the
So
20th.
I asked on another email, so the treasurer actually sent me an email because she couldn't figure out what a deposit was for. So I copied the transaction and the bank account and emailed it to our bank person to ask if they could pull more details for the ACH so that I could get more information because she didn't find it herself. So on that email, I just asked, could you pass me on the information for your credit card? Because I know we're gonna start talking about them soon, so I could have that information. So I'm doing other business as a request for her to get information for a deposit that I needed the information on.
That was also
So-
last week, folks.
I think
Right.
what the treasurer is just asking is when you had sent that correspondence, just to CC her next time. To me, that's what I'm hearing, to be CC'd on the
Or
communication.
why is she doing it at all? This is a treasurer and board of commissioner thing, not a controller thing at all. And I think to not only go over myself and the board by contacting Nicolay, now she's putting it in this policy of a proposed thing from Nicolay. Until today, we just found out about their interest rates and stuff, and inputting a section into the policy about a virtual credit card that we have no idea about. And we are trying to talk about these policies, again, not based off of our current policy. We are trying to do edits off of April's suggested edits. That's it.
The controller has the authority in her scope of practice to talk to the banks. She can talk to the bank.
Sure, but why is she presenting it to you without me knowing? There's no
At the last,
communication.
on the
Another
20th,
another point to this too is.
we discussed her contacting them about that, because I remember I asked you the question about the
Probably
prepaid
could add
cards.
my name to that.
Why didn't you ask the
CC.
treasurer to investigate that?
She was here. She was
So
here.
why didn't you ask her instead of having this lady do it?
Amen.
No questions. Another thing too is, again, we are going off of the April suggested edits here. There was a dedicated group of 10 folks, elected officials and department heads that gave you a proposed credit card policy, none of which was discussed last Thursday or is now. I think that the impact of credit cards, like I said, I can't agree more that it needs to come out of my office. I'm not accounts payable, I'm cash receipting. Totally agree with that process. But the policy of credit cards affects these departments 24/7, 365 in ways that the board, and I didn't know until I sat in that meeting for 4 hours with other departments. This impacts us all. It's not a free willy-nilly spending like you guys assume that it is. We still have budgets that we have to follow. I hope that if every department was issued a credit card, that it sits in a secured vault and it grows dust on it. But if a department needs it, it's there. We trust our departments with hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. And why you would not offer or allow each department to have a very well-managed $2,000 credit card, I will never understand.
Well, that's our discussion right now, because that's why we're talking policy. So what did everybody say?
It makes sense to me, honestly, that I worked at the county where we did have a credit card and it was a larger county, but to not have that would have really hindered our ability to do our job. So from my experience, I see benefit to that. To having cards assigned to departments, like a single card to department. I don't know if all the departments need it or if only certain ones would need it. But from where I worked previously, my experience, there was benefit to having it. And if you put limits on it and you have a policy, I did bring up that credit card policy at the special meeting, at the one that was provided, because I thought that was actually really good. It had some information there on if it is misused, and we need to enforce that. If it is misused, you lose those privileges, and having those safeguards to me helps with that liability concern. I know some of the commissioners had concerns with liability of putting out like a 2,000 limit, I think is what Commissioner DeBrant had mentioned last meeting. But you put those safeguards in the policy so that you have the authority to, withdraw, that privilege if it's abused, just like anything else.
So how would you, what is your recommendation?
My recommendation, I'd like to go back, I haven't looked at it since last meeting, but I'd like to go back and look at consider adopting the proposed credit card policy that was presented.
It wasn't presented in the meeting, it was in the information that was sent out before the meeting. There was a credit card policy in there that seemed to make sense to me that never made it into the boardroom discussion on when we were doing the policy changes.
Was that on 313 or 20? We discussed that. I can't remember.
I think we did 20.
20, okay.
Credit card policy.
The number here is 33, page 33. Is that the kind?
I was looking
Or
at
the
the
notes?
proposed one. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you determine who would get a credit card. It makes sense to me. Some departments may need it. Some may not want it or may not need it.
Even having a credit card assigned to each department, that even if it's kept in a safe somewhere in the county and they don't use it until they need it.
Or
Cases like up to the sheriff's department again, where the mechanic can use it quite frequently and they can maintain it at the sheriff's department so he can use it when he needs it.
So there's not, so do you want to bring up? Do you want to bring up then those policies again and review it again since?
I think it deserves further discussion.
I would like to see it revisit it because this proposed policy, I didn't realize, I think that the last meeting that it came from the department heads, but it has a section that says permissible use. So it kind of, defines how it is supposed to be used. It has a revocation reapplication procedure. So if you're not complying with this is what has to happen. You have a certain time period has to go by, then you can potentially be reconsidered. So there's some safeguards in that proposed policy.
And we could compile the information on the prepaid or on the other, the jury card. I'm sorry, I forgot what the name of that was. The load fund, the load funded cards. Because those can be right off of a.
Thing I don't like about them is like department head having to go to mom and dad to ask for their allowance. It just sounds like there's a lack of trust there. If you
Well,
gotta
it'd be based,
dole it out to them when you say it's proper.
well, based off of their budgets.
The prepaid based on what the budget is.
Right, based off their whatever.
But you can't do that because what if I'm buying an office expense here and my budget's $1,000? And what if I'm doing a travel expense here and my budget's $5,000? You can't go off of just a budget line item.
Well, that's what we need to, maybe we need to look at that. So do we want to table that? Look
Sure.
at that the next. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, or I don't know. I mean,
We're
if
gonna
we're
schedule another meeting to discuss
another
what the
special
ultimate
meeting.
policy is gonna be. It's probably okay to send to the attorney right now, but as far as coming to a final conclusion on what the policy is gonna be, I think we need more discussion on it.
Well, we probably want to send the most accurate policy that we want when we send these for review. Your thoughts?
The policy that we have in place right now was put in place by the previous board that Ms. Hardy's and I sat on. We had a problem with certain departments overspending and running up a deficit. In order to control the overspending, we took the credit cards away and we implemented this policy, which since then, certain departments have not been in a deficit. These departments have also spent so much money and been in the deficit for so many years in a row that they brought a cap on us from Lansing. 5 years. That's the reason this policy was put into place, so that we can control better the overspending without regard to your budget.
I understand the control issue, particularly with that comment, but also if a department head or an elected official goes over a budget line item, I don't know why everybody else's hands were slapped. If one department is going over budget continually, that's a discussion between the board and that department head, and that needs to be addressed immediately. However, by taking away this, I believe we had 3 before on the previous policy. This checkout system, taking that has now affected all of your departments and all of your offices. So potentially.
We only had one credit card for the entire county building, and then the sheriff's department had multiple. We only removed the sheriff's department and credit cards. We kept one. So it always was kept in the board office at the time for many, many years. And if they had a purchase, they came and got the card and utilized it and then returned it. That's how it was for many years. So departments never had a credit card, never. It was just the one in the county building, and then the sheriff's department had some.
Whatever the ultimate number may be, that credit card policy that we were talking about, me and Michelle read previously to the meeting we had on the handbook. Sounded a good policy because the addressed all the issues of overspending, misuse and all that, and punishments and for overuse. And I'll have to see if I can find it. I'd have to go digging through my phone emails and find it.
Yeah, I mean, so it says department offices that do not provide valid receipts accounting for all transactions and or borrowed cards within 5 business days of use or return from a county related business credit card privilege revoked by the treasurer. Departments and offices that fail to comply with this process 2 or more times within a 12-month period will have their credit card privileges revoked. Once a department office has had their credit card privileges revoked, they may check out or reapply for a credit card after a period not less than 3 months. Any department or office who has had their credit card privileges revoked 2 or more times may check out or reapply for a credit card after a period of not less than 12 months. So there's safeguards in there is my point. And also back to my point, you're saying only the sheriff had credit cards before. That's why I said, I don't know that every department needs one. And maybe, you know, people who might use it, I don't know who uses a credit card. I can ask for a report on credit card transactions in my department, I suppose, but I'm just suggesting that there may be benefit to departments having it. Some departments, maybe not all even want it. So that there are safeguards in this policy. I think it is worth looking at the policy that was proposed by the elected and department heads. And maybe that goes into our policy, or they tie together somehow, you know, to make sure that they're cohesive.
To combine these 2 is what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
That's what I'm.
Just wait, because Lindsay has already made the comment, she does not want to be running that card.
Right, and
Well,
then
I
this,
just,
this policy
really
has
is,
the
it's an accounts
treasurer,
payable.
so that's where I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
converge the 2, because the proposed policy presented has the one that we're reviewing, I think has that to the controller, whereas this one doesn't, so I think they need to mesh together. That would be my proposal. I think there are safeguards built into the one that I read that would protect liability that is a concern of the board.
So can we bring both forward? Go ahead, Chad.
So I guess just a couple things. One, yeah, obviously, I'm sorry. The sheriff's office obviously historically has had credit cards, and to Commissioner Peltier's points, I mean, we want to sit here and look back and discuss previous budgets and caps. I would love to sit down and talk about different decisions that were made that put the county in the position it was in. I 100% would love to participate in that. Again, let's also remember, every single squad car for the last decade has been purchased by these people through a millage. Not one has come from the general fund. So we can talk about previous budgets, positions, caps. I would love to have that thoughtful sit-down conversation. And the discussion on, I don't know how it was said, overspending or misuse, I'm gonna just assume you're speaking of the sheriff's office, since it was us and only the county that had it. Let's remember that purchase was a microwave for our office, so that our dispatchers have someplace they can warm up food. I believe it was $154.
Yes.
If I remember. That's how pressing of a point we're discussing. If this isn't personal, I don't know what is. I'm sorry, Chairman, I'm sorry, but this is, again, to Commissioner Hamlin, we spoke last week at the meeting. And I think the treasurer just said it out loud. The people have entrusted the elected officials, as well as you, to make sound decisions. Every department here is well over $100,000, $2 million. We talk about liability. We were in a position yesterday that far exceeds every liability you're talking about today. Yesterday, and we're talking about a $2,000 to $5,000 credit card, and entrusting their elected officials with it. That's what we're talking about. You've already taken away. I'll speak to that later, but I implore you to understand what you've heard in the previous public session is trust the people that are doing it every year or every day. They have, this is why we do it. And I don't know why it seems like some don't believe that, or that I don't feel that I'm spending her money and his money and their money. There's no greater responsibility than every hat that every department head and elected official wears. And to think that we take it frivolously is remarkably disrespectful. We are talking very simply about simple liability things to create efficiency in government, which that's an impossible thing, but that's what we're asking you to do. Help us with efficiency. That's it.
Well,
Hold our hand accountable.
Well, I think that's what we're gonna say. We're going
That's-
to
thank
table
you.
that one, and we're gonna combine both of those if we
Sorry.
could. You know, look at both of the options, and we can review that, bring that back next meeting. The next thing we already addressed, 819. Is there anything? Page 90. I think we're at page 93. I
What
have
section
80.
are you on, Marge?
We had gone through everything on the 20th up to
6.2.
no, we had gone through 8.
No.
No, we stopped at 6.2.
Oh, it was 6.2?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I have my marker in the wrong spot. Living classification? You already, oh, I thought we had. addressed
We
that.
covered that, so you can go past, we just moved the comp time, number 7 over to overtime and comp.
Right, okay.
6.1.
Can you put that up on the screen at all?
I didn't bring my.
Thank you.
While she's putting that up, I just wanted to comment, so we had a security meeting yesterday. And Judge Green, I talked to her afterwards because she knew this was coming up and she hasn't had time to look at the policy from the security standpoint. And there's certain things in here that she would like an opportunity to review before it goes to the attorney. So,
Probably the next word, since we're already gonna bring that up.
okay, that's fine. I didn't know, if we're deciding, I know that was coming back, so maybe it doesn't matter, but I just wanted to bring up, she had asked for some time to be able to review it.
Yeah, she just needs to ask to be on,
Okay.
so.
I have a comment on 6.23 for classification. And I think it's gonna touch more into maybe the salary and wage scale. But it's conference season, we're all going to conferences, and Bonnie Toski is going around to all of the major associations, which is part of our legal firm, our county legal firm, and has explained to us that multiple counties, unfortunately, through a legal battle, have now discovered that all chief deputies are to be salaried employees. Currently, they are hourly employees at Montmorency County. So I would be more than willing to, I'm trying to look for it right now in this presentation that she had given.
Well, we can have the lawyer look at that when we send that on.
I'm just worrying about, if we're talking about classification, chief deputies now need to be in the unclassified, I think it would be, which is what elected officials are.
Well, if we put that note on it, April, when that goes to the,
Yeah.
those notes on the side, let's put that on for the lawyer to review. The classified chief deputy, what was it, compensation or going to a salary
They're
position?
required to be salary now. It's not hourly.
72. 72. Did you put that note up? If you just add that to the.
Yep. To touch base on what Commissioner LaRose said about the judge. So Judge Green sent me an email yesterday afternoon because we did talk about insecurity, about reviewing the security policy, and that we all agreed in the security that we think that we should wait till we have our new EM in place so that they can review that policy and have the security committee review it as well. And so we just kind of think that we basically will probably try to amend that policy later on, once we've had that time for the security committee to meet up again, the EM to review it and get amendments done. I'll just read your email really quick. She's not gonna have time to review by tomorrow, which we didn't think it would, because that was 10 o'clock in the morning and we didn't have a whole lot of time. I think having the new EM review as part of this would be helpful, as well as security committee. I could call a special meeting, or we could put it on the next agenda for our security meetings. Perhaps Scales as security advisor would provide some guidance as to their requirements. If something has to be done sooner, we could always suggest any amendments going forward. Meanwhile, maybe the security policy should be separate from the other policies, our evac plan, security protocol, computer matters, etc. That way they're not within it. So that was one of their questions.
Where are those within this? What are-
It's in here. It's our basic security policy. Our
So-
evac plans and all that would all be addendums or appendixes if we did it, which don't have to go out to public. And I kind of said to her that I feel like they probably should just be sent to department heads, not put with our policy, so to say. So the security part, talking about closures and bomb threats and all those things, we need to update those and review them. And I think our security committee could come up with an option once we have our new EM to propose to you guys to put in place. But so I would say kind of ignore what we have right now, keep it as is until we have a chance to get a better proposed policy together for everything.
Well, and it's gonna take a while for the lawyers to review, so when we send it to them, can we make that again, a statement to them that this is gonna be reviewed? and
Yep.
Updated by the.
Yeah, our next security meeting is until June unless we call an earlier one.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be possible, right? I know she's really busy. Did she have a problem if she would bring it up earlier?
Oh, we'll figure that out. But just so you know that this security policy, we probably shouldn't submit to the attorney yet until we've had a chance to kind of review it.
Yep. Sounds good. We have and then this part too, like the 3-day work week and the telecommuting and the attendance departments, the department can determine their own. If they want to keep ours or if they want to do their own. Was there any questions on those? Because again, that's department specific. Well, it would be the same page, like 72, like these are all those policies that were listed, if you have that colored index sheet, that are all specific to a department, they can include it in their own. Anything else?
The update to direct deposit was done, just how we're currently handling it. And like I said, we moved the number 7 from the classification side to the overtime and compensatory time. About the board only pays out 24 hours of comp time, so we don't want them accruing any more than 24 hours. That is a board's decision how much they want. State laws, 240 hours of comp time can be accumulated, but you guys can set that where you want to set it at. So you guys can make that decision if you want to keep it at 24, if you want to, increase it, decrease it. That's something you guys need to make a decision on. Would you like to keep it at 24?
Yeah. I guess nobody has any preference. Travis?
So the next change really would be the PTO policy. We talked about how
What number is that?
8.2.
I have something before that. 6.13 under business expenses. This is just like a, I don't know, graphical thing, but under technical and training seminars and other expenses, it says the organization. I feel like it should say Montmorency County for both. And then under reporting, it says taxes will not be reimbursed by the county since we are a tax exempt government entity. I think it should say state sales tax will not be reimbursed by the county. And that's specifically for hotel reservations. You know, they have like the city tax, all this. If we put that on our own, we would be reimbursed that. Of course, we would not be reimbursed the state sales tax. So I just think that that needs to be clarified under reporting.
Or updated?
Right, yep. And then under 6.14 travel expenses advances, I don't like the very first sentence. It says the county does not generally provide cash travel advances. No, the answer is the county does not provide cash travel advances. So I think generally should be taken out.
But the thing is like there is petty cash. So like if a deputy was to go somewhere and they took petty cash, that technically would be money received. I guess so. You have to be careful with that one.
Petty cash shouldn't leave the office.
That's what credit card.
I didn't know that people took petty cash out of their offices. To me, that shouldn't be allowed. Petty cash should stay in a secured office. And then the next sentence says, normally you will be expected to use personal credit cards in your own cash and submit approved expenses on the standard expense report form. I think it should say normally you may be expected to use personal credit cards. And that sentence I feel should be a bullet point underneath travel expenses, just as a disclosure. It's under advances and it really has no place there.
Anybody have a problem with that adjustment? Okay.
8.2.
8.1, before we get there, the very bottom one, Montmorency County will follow state court holidays mandated. When we met as a large group, I think Jody had brought it up that there's one day that we do and they don't, or
Columbus Day.
yeah, maybe that's what it is. So that statement is false.
Well,
You either
no,
follow them or
but
you don't.
we follow their mandated. So if they mandate them, we follow them. So like when they added Juneteenth, we had to add that. That's what that means is
Okay,
if they
all right.
mandate a date, we have to add
So
that in.
minimally, we are following them.
Right.
Okay,
I was gonna say it's listed in there. Most day is listed in the list.
it is, right. Okay, thank you.
The paid time off, that is the new state.
Okay, so this is, we talked about at the previous meeting. I'm sorry. We had the Earned Sick Leave Act that came into play. And we had talked about adding a policy for that. And then after more legislation went through, after the date of supposed to take effect on 21st of February, they brought more information to you after the fact. And one of the things they put in there is that you don't have to have a separate Earned Sick Leave Act policy if you are providing PTO that meets or exceeds the Earned Sick Leave Act. So this policy on 8.2, it basically would take our vacation and sick policies that we already have and merge them into one. So they would now qualify us to not have to have an actual separate Earned Sick Leave Act. Now, the numbers for earning hours from vacation and sick, I just combined them. So we were giving 72 hours. So I added that to the vacation timeline we were already doing. So it increased our number, but it's just the combination of those two numbers.
So what would it look like?
So all full-time employees will accrue PTO hours according to the following schedule. After 30 days to 1 year, they'll get 4.5 hours per pay period. From the start of the year, 2 to 4 years, they get 5.75 hours per pay period. Start of year 5 to 10 years, they get 7.25 hours per pay period. And start of year 10 and over, they get 8.75 hours per pay period. And then all part-time employees will accrue 1 PTO hour for every 30 hours they work. So that's the little
That's
part.
the addition.
Yeah. You will begin accruing PTO on your first day of work, and you may begin using PTO 30 days after beginning employment. And it can be used in increments of 0.25. This also allows us to pay them out anytime that they've accrued. The Earned Sick Leave Act does not have that in there, but our PTO policy will continue to allow us to pay them out like we've already done, so nobody loses any of that time. They can carry over up to 215 hours. That's the 175 plus the 40 we had already allowed for vacation and personal time to be carried over. So 215 hours, and if they leave for any reason, they get paid out.
And that was an adjustment. It was lower than 215.
It was 175 and 40.
Okay.
And so it just the combination of two. Does anybody have any questions on that? If you guys are okay with that policy, can I get a motion for that? Because I would like to start setting it up in the payroll system so it can be used properly.
I would make a motion to update the vacation and sick policy to reflect the new, how do they want you to?
Pay time off
Pay
policy.
time off policy.
As presented.
Under motion.
Second.
Our motion is to update the vacation and sick policy to reflect as paid time off.
Oh, yeah.
What is that, what you want to say, is that more?
To remove the vacation and sick policies and replace with the PTO policy is really what
Yes.
you're doing.
Yeah. Do we have to add that it's earned sick leave as well? That it combines the earned sick?
That has everything.
Okay.
So to remove the vacation and sick time. Place it. With the paid time.
Correct. We can do a roll call.
And just, you know, like I added the reasons for leave, like the Earned Sick Leave Act had reasons for leave on it. So I added that into that PTO policy so that they know they can take for those things. And who is, you know, separation and all that stuff is in there, just, so you know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Altier,
Yes.
Deverett,
Yes.
Hamlin,
Yes.
Hardee's,
Yes.
LaRose.
Yes.
Motion passed. Bereavement policy, were there any changes to that? We've changed that a couple of times in the past. Significant people.
Which one?
That bereavement policy, is that the same that we had, that we updated? Remember, I think.
Yep, we just updated that last
Yeah.
time when we did union negotiations.
Okay. Family and medical leave, and there wasn't
We
any
just
changes.
updated that based on law. One of the comments made, if you go to section 8.9, jury duty leave, Cheryl had brought up that we used to, we changed this policy when we put it in place in 2023, that it used to say that if they had jury duty and they didn't get that jury duty pay, or because they got paid while they were here. We removed that last time, and I know she brought it up in her notes, just asking a question on that again.
So say that again, so is that covered in here? What she's
We
talking-
removed it so that they get their jury duty pay.
Okay,
So
right,
they get paid and the jury duty. They get both.
Mhm.
okay.
Any others you want to talk about? And we just did the military health, so that's the end of the policy book.
And then we'll do those other.
And we'll add everything for the next meeting for review.
Okay.
Can you send to the board just an updated with all the edits we've been making these last couple meetings and then the notes on what.
Yeah, I didn't make any
board's concerned
edits to it. I
questions?
made notes on mine, so I'll just send the page with all the notes to reference that. Will that work?
Yeah, I just wanted to like kind of have reference of what this, I know we have specific questions for the attorney. I know he's reviewing everything, but we had specific questions.
And I put that, I'll put that notes together and send it over to you guys.
Okay. Can I just ask a question on PTO time? What's the timeline for using your hours, April?
They carry over 215 every year. And so you have that time to use them. Oh, sorry. So right now, everybody's not be affected because you already had the 175 and the 40 from the previous year. So everybody's under that amount, so you won't lose anything.
Okay.
And that's why I upped them so that you would match that, what was already being done.
County department reports, the controller report.
Okay, a couple things. The inmate coordinator, I sent that over to the union. And they sent over a counter proposal. I emailed that to everybody. I did talk to our attorney and he said that we can go into a closed session at our next meeting to discuss that counter proposal and come up with an answer on what we want to do in closed session and then come out of closed session and make a motion on what we would like to move forward with. So that's going to be on the next agenda. The emergency manager position, the posting is completed at the end of this week. All the applicants are being sent over to Alpena, so they're gonna send me everything once they have them all together. And then Jesse called me on Friday and they have a draft contract for us to review. That would be our, our sharing of the EM. Sign the paperwork to start the OPEB actuarial for our fiscal 24 audit. That's at $4,500. It's an increase of 500, which has been the standard increase that we've been seeing. The medical examiner tablets that we ordered through the opioid funding, those are ordered. They're all set up and ready to go. Dave did email the other day. He's gonna be coming to pick them up soon to get them issued out to all the medical examiners. We did the MERS education on Tuesday. This was set up for people to come and ask questions about their retirement plan specifically. It got turned into more of a healthcare savings plan conversation. Leah asked if she could set up sessions again. And she wants to do it by division, so she would like to have like a session where it's all defined benefit people in one, and then defined contribution people, and then have another one if we need to. That way people can ask specific questions of the actual plan they're on, so it's not so, they can be more specific to their plan.
Can you let us know when each department has a meeting?
Yep.
Okay. Does anybody have a problem with presenting that?
Just a reminder, our auditors are going to be on site April 30th and May 1st for the 24 audit, and the MVA grant amendment for fiscal 25. You reported last meeting that the extra allocation they give to all the counties was reduced this year. So we were planning for 59,000 and went down to 53,000. So I had to submit an amendment showing how we're going to spend that 53, and that's been approved and we're all set.
Yeah, I didn't have one.
I attended the FPS meeting and then the security meeting was on Wednesday. And then the landfill meeting.
PS security and what?
Landfill. At the security meeting, they did talk about starting to schedule some emergency drills, so there'll be things coming out on that.
And I went to the FPS meeting and then the health department meeting. It was just, we updated policies there as well. And those were the HR policies. They do them a section at a time. There wasn't any really new issues there. They're on track budget wise. The audit is wrapping up for them as well. And that all looks good at this point. Nothing to report.
I didn't have anything.
I didn't have any either.
I need to use the bathroom.
Well, okay, let's recess for 10 minutes. Dawn?
Dawn?
Do we have coffee in there?
No cause, we don't want
Hang on. I might just call off my afternoon. I guess. I have some.
Do you want me to go take your coffee?
No, it's. Okay. Thank you.
You'd have to move.
I'm still worried. Thinking about what we ought to use that.
You don't want to.
Nope.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe they have there. Boy, that is cool. Thank you. Thank you.
I know it's not.
Okay, Mary.
Everybody.
We have so much more. We're done with them.
That's the thing. Just-
You think you would be done?
It's not. Is that why it's so high?
I thought it was just me.
I haven't said it's 7.
That's
Faces
fine.
are
That's
red.
fine.
You mind if I do? Sure. Let's go see it.
Oh, wait.
I noticed you had a fan on your phone.
Yes, thank God for that little fan. Yep, I use my little fan.
I forgot about that, okay?
Pretty soon that's coming. She was just on stage.
Yeah, that little fan works wonderful.
Wasn't it by chance?
No way. I would be surprised.
You did? What did you get?
I have the one that you can put around your neck. But these little,
Okay.
have you seen? these?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much air you get from these.
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah.
That's what you, low air.
Yes, it does.
You're watching.
And it doesn't use a whole lot of.
Maybe.
Oh, you would know that.
But if you want to get paid.
Do we know how long?
Thank you, sir.
I gotta have it in the-
Didn't put in the end time today.
That's all right. We can't watch it. If we go past noon.
Do you want the one today too? Are you trying to keep them by month? Oh, okay, so I'll have to give you this one too.
Okay.
I'll get you.
I wouldn't do that,
My preference, I just want to certify.
You're right. Yep. I do have one in here. I have one.
See, this is big enough. Put time sheet.
Well, yeah.
In our book. Don Peter's one-year time sheet. One at a time as I need them. Six P.M. board.
Immediately Mary makes a motion.
Ready? All right, we're back in session. We are down, everybody's standing minutes, limited public comment.
I just have a question on the standing committee still. The counterfeit counter, we mentioned at FPS that you guys are gonna bring it up. I just don't know, has there been a confirmation to create the line, or are we going to use the line,
On the
or?
next agenda. We're gonna put on the consent agenda.
Did you want to give a report?
No.
Fun until you said the no. I'm sorry.
Anything to say?
All right. Limited public comment,
Go up there.
please. Oh, just wait, we had.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just want to tell the commissioners, you're doing a very good job. I'm pleased with the way you're doing it, and I'm pleased that you're keeping track of where our money's going. Thank you.
Public comment.
Yep. Some of you know me, some of you don't. My name is Steve Eagle. I can remember when my uncle was the sheriff of this county back when. I used to spend some time with them in the old courthouse. That's how I got my start in law enforcement here. I ended up at Oakland County Sheriff's Department for 4 years, City of Auburn Hills for 17. When I was with the Sheriff's Department, I was assigned to the Administrative Services Division, which meant I worked for captains, sheriff, and undersheriff. I sat with the sheriff and undersheriff, and you didn't get in to see him unless you went through me, and nobody got through me. So I understand county budgets. I understand how things work. I understand that you folks all have to keep an eye on the dollars. I get that. What I don't understand is why the sheriff that I worked for down there used to be police commissioner of the city of New York. He refused to even show up at meetings with the commissioners. He just wouldn't go. They'd subpoena him, he'd just blow him off. Sheriff's Department budget today is $228 million down there. They have 1,500 deputies. When I was there, I think we had about 950. We're a small agency then. One thing I can't understand is why we keep having this conversation. I've only been coming to these meetings for, I don't know, a month and a half, maybe. I can't understand why we keep having conversations about vehicles. At any given time in Oakland County, we had 100 cars in a pool waiting to go to the service. We're talking about a totaled out car here. I don't get that. As a sheriff, if I was a sheriff of this county, I wouldn't show up here either. And I'd fix a damn car, and that's how it'd be, period. I also can't understand retiree health benefits. You're probably real close as a county of having a revolving door instead of long-term employees. I can see that coming. having been a union president and negotiated a number of contracts for the union, I can't even understand how you have employees, union or non-union, retired that don't have health benefits. It isn't fair. I don't understand it. I mean, I understand the budgets I've seen and dealt with are much larger. I get that because you don't have all the business, pay the taxes. I understand that as well. But come on, you got 30-year employees, 20-year employees with no benefits and some kind of a health savings account. I can't even understand it. Anyway, thank you for your time. Have a good day.
Public comment?
Doug Morrison from Hillman. I said to myself, coming over here, I wasn't gonna talk, because I talk every time I come and I don't like to talk. But, and I hate to say this, I feel like I'm gonna hit a button for recall again. Repeat. And I am, I'm gonna repeat. And I seen it again today. Lindsay had her hand up, wanted to ask something. Nobody would even mention it. I mean, thank God the sheriff has a big enough body to stand up. You actually see him and you do allow him to speak, which he should be able to speak. And this is where I'm hoping that you guys are doing these bylaws or whatever you want to call them, that you do get this into this. So the people that we vote for should have a voice. And all they're doing is trying to give you guys another option to look at where maybe they see something that you guys aren't seeing. You know, so that's another recording that I said the last time I was here. Same thing with your mechanic. Great guy. Bob made a great point. He was there. Rose, she was there. You know, I hope you guys go there. I remember a couple years ago, I thought the commissioner should all ride in a cop car one time to see what the cops go through. And I know Bob, he did go and he got to see. Matter of fact, he rode with my son. He got to see what it was like to have a call in Lewiston and have to hurry up and come to Hillman. And this is when we were arguing about having, you know, 2 cops on. 2 cops are tough for this size of a county. So I think it's important for you to get out in the sheriff's department and see what these guys go through every day. That, it just bothers me. The other thing that I don't understand, my son's a police officer. You guys trust him with a car, you trust him with the vest, you trust him with the guns, but you don't trust him with a credit card? My son just had to go and pick up a guy that was in jail. He had a warrant for his arrest up here. My son used his own personal credit card to do that, which again, he can come back and April can get him his money and all that stuff. But really, do we have to go through that? Them guys shouldn't have to worry about having a credit card in their pocket. Every one of your department heads deserve a credit card. And you should trust every one of your people. If you don't trust them, I don't understand how they even got elected. All us people that voted for them, we trust them. And there's recalls if they do cheat the system. You know what I mean? And I don't understand it. I come to these board meetings all the time and I will continue coming to these board meetings, but it gets frustrating to listen to it and hear, I don't know how many times we heard how many cop cars we got, how many cop cars we got, how many cop cars we got. That went on for a year and a half. I've been going to these things for a year and a half. So appreciate the 3 minutes that I had. Thank you.
Public comment?
I'm Dixie Habermill from Hillman. Mr. Peltier, am I saying it right? 2 weeks ago, you said that you had purchased a van for the PACE organization. I guess it's an organization. And my question is, if you purchased that van, was that van checked out?
Then for what, TPTA?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So they know that in that van, that airbag is good to go. You know that, you got 15 people in this van. And I'm asking because I have a loved one that may utilize that van. So I want to know now, because the big thing is this airbag. Is the airbag in that vehicle good enough to handle 15 people?
I'm not an airbag specialist, ma'am, I can't tell you.
But don't you think it should be checked out? Don't you think you should take it in and have it checked out?
The van was checked out before we took ownership of it, and it was checked out after we took ownership of it.
So it's been checked out twice,
Yes,
but not 3 times. Like we're gonna check out the patrol car. Because the mechanics checked it out. You have somebody checking it out, and then Plowman's is gonna check it out. That's 3 people. I think that's a little ridiculous on taxpaying dollars. I do. I kind of was in the store a couple days after the meeting 2 weeks ago. And I heard a couple of people talking about leasing patrol cars. I don't know if they're talking this county or not. I'm asking, is this county talking about leasing patrol cars?
we already are.
You are leasing them,
We're leasing patrol cars right now.
and you don't think that's gonna be a higher cost to the taxpayer? Every mile over, you have to pay. I leased the vehicle, I know. It gets costly.
This lease isn't like that. This is a municipal lease and there is no over mileage. It's not calculated like that.
So no matter how many miles these cars get on it, then it must be an awful good lease,
Right,
an
it's a
awful
mu-
expensive lease
It's a municipal lease.
to keep that down. So with that, I've sat in the courtroom 3 weeks now, and I watched the disposition of some of you and the attitude. And
Time.
it saddens me with what I see. Because you were voted in just as well as we voted in the sheriff.
Public comment?
Kenny Kilman. I want to reiterate what Steve, who was just up here, mentioned. If you guys keep putting all your cuts on the back of your employees that work here, you are going to have a revolving door. And you're going to find out that a revolving door does not fit or suit anyone. And you're not going to have employees that are worth their grain of salt working for you. You cannot continue to cut on the backs of your employees. If you would go to your department heads and try to work out a session of where can we cut 3%, where can we cut 9%, whatever it is that you have to cut, you better start discussing it with the people who work here that can give you an avenue on where you might be able to cut those things. One other thing, why is the controller's office the only place that the budget keeps going up every year here? And everybody else is either stagnant or going down? Anybody answer that question? Maybe we should start answering that question. And I will go with Doug. Recalls are really on the table. Thank you.
Public comment?
Donna Barani again. I just want to express my disappointment, as you all know. And I have some questions. So I'm just wondering why we invited Tony from MERS here. You can answer.
didn't know I was coming, so I can't answer that question.
So Tony gave you some options and told you there were options. Mary, you stated this problem's been going on for 15 years. You haven't even been here 15 years. Yes, you may have been a citizen, but I've been here over 15 years. And nobody's ever come to me and said, hey, let's work out a retirement plan. I just know what I've been promised. And today I lost quite a bit of it. You didn't take any of us into consideration. There's 2 people that I heard were retiring this year. This is life changing. And I cannot believe that you can sit here and even look at us, which most of you can, but if I started here today and worked for 22 years, I would have double the amount of money of what you're planning to give me. Did you even look at that or think about that? And the reason I asked why you invited Tony here is because you wasted his time. You had your mind made up. You didn't really want to know his options. The 3 of you voted, you made a motion like that, Mary. Do not consider any of us and how this will affect our lives. We cannot recap that money to have a retirement. So what you're probably gonna do is be stuck with us till we're 65 now and pay us, keep paying us our rates. So I'm just very disappointed in the decision that you made.
Public comments?
Just gonna give you just a document. It wasn't, I didn't know whether it would come into play, and obviously things moved very quickly today. Anyway, so just I'm gonna reiterate what you've heard already and what we started the meeting with. I don't know at what point in time the perspective of a majority of this board is going to be one of mutual respect and collaboration. You preach transparency and you preach all these things and you exercise absolutely none of them. None. It is the most disrespectful thing professionally I have ever seen, ever. We deal with situations that are beyond dangerous and possess liability, and we argue about the silliest things. What I've given you is a document, and I'm just going to circle back to retiree health because I'm going to echo what Donna said. This once again from us discussing policies on a policy that you received less than 10 days per your policy. You discuss it, approve it. This document, this decision you just made today, you received information on Monday evening, from what I understand. I never saw anything. Every other elected official never saw anything. If you look at that, so this is just me using a compound interest calculator on my phone. 15 years, I'm going to use Donna because I love her. She's been here over 20 years, almost 22. She is going to get $28,340. If she starts today and works just 20 years, she will make in excess of $51,990, almost double. But because she's dedicated her life to this community for the last 20 plus years, along with Cheryl, who's been here 37, and Julie, who's been here, 28, 34. You are literally taking the benefits they've had and cutting them remarkably in half. Remarkably. With no conversation. Not a come into the room like Donna said. Not where are you at? What can we do to save money, to take care of their money appropriately, along with respecting the people that have been serving them for over 2 decades. There was zero talk. Why did he come? To say we had MERS here? Because he sure as heck didn't listen to him. You didn't say what options. Okay, what happens if we split this hiring date, that hiring date? What would that have an impact on? How can we recoup that money? Can we reorganize things? This much conversation. I mean, Ms. Hamlin and obviously they said no, but I'm barely wrapping my head around it, and I've been here 20 years. How any of you are grasping this, I literally have no idea. There is legitimately no way, because you did not involve anybody that is the end users. Public servants, be gone. They mean nothing, obviously, to this board, to the majority of this board. If you have an opportunity to reconsider, please do.
Public comment?
My name's Doug Smith. I'm a volunteer. I'm actually a volunteer all over North America. A lot of you don't know that. What these guys do for this township, for this county, is amazing. They go above and beyond. And all I can say is, from that side of the room, I don't see any common sense by not letting them talk, by not letting another meeting go by, by not giving them 100 days for you guys to figure this out as a board, because you were elected by the people. That's all I have to say.
Public comment?
Something to hand out today. Just a public comment, and it's just a statement again for the last special meeting held on Thursday, just that the public's aware as well. At a FPS meeting about a month ago, I had suggested, I'm new here, I had suggested we're going to talk about policies. So I feel like since policies affect multiple different departments and offices, we should probably get in a room. I was told that didn't work in the past. Do you want to do it? And I said, sure. So I spearheaded that project. Out of all of our super busy schedules as elected officials, department heads, employees, 10 of us were able to get together, and we spent 4 long hours and even more after that concerning policies. It was a beautiful thing to see all of the departments to get together and not only just talk about these policies, but to learn how these policies affect other offices that we don't know about unless we would have had that conversation. We compiled a great edit and suggestion to the board, and we submitted that to the board 4 weeks ago. Only one comment was had by a contracted employee. No comment back from the board after we asked to have a working session, because we gained a lot of information just about each other and other departments. They said, no, we're gonna have a special meeting. So we held, the board held a special meeting last Thursday. It ended briefly at 8:30 because the computer shut down, said it was enough. And then we continued that session today. I just want to make another public comment that these policies don't just affect finances. They don't just affect my office or the sheriff's department. It affects all of the offices. I still don't think that this is a solid enough policy to be pushing to an attorney. I feel like if you do, it's going to be met with a lot of resistance, and amendments are still going to come. Let's work together as county elected officials that we all are, represent all of our people, and have our offices heard.
Public comment?
My name is Karen Chapman. This is the first board meeting I've attended. And I just want to express to board members how unhappy I am with the way the whole health insurance thing is handled. I just think there had to be a better way. Work it out to everybody's satisfaction. And I just wish you'd taken the time and work together to do it. It's just really upsetting. I retired from the state of Michigan, and I got hired in after they changed all the retirement stuff. I chose not to pay into because that's not health insurance. It's not health insurance. And I pay my own, and it's over $10,000 a year. And the state pays half. So, and that, when you get older, the costs are just gonna go up. So it's just really upsetting that we're not supporting your employees. As a citizen, I'm really upset right now. Thank you.
Public comment? No more public comment? We need to go into closed session at this time, so I need a motion. I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
I'll second that.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're going to close session for a personnel issue. Yes, you're right.
Dawn, oh, wait.
I have that. We need to make a vote for
I want
that.
to make sure.
Have a roll call. Devon. Go into closed session, we need a vote. You want to go into closed session?
Yes.
Let me turn this back on so you can.
Okay. Motion by Hardy, second by Pelletier to go into closed session for a personnel issue. Roll call vote, Deverett,
Yes.
Hardee's,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Pelletier.
Yes.
The door didn't close. There you go.
Dawn's turning the thing on.
We are. We need to open that door.
She needed me to adjourn.
I mean, I was closed.
Right, the last thing on our agenda is adjournment.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, say no. Motion passes.
Meeting adjourned.
Well,